This is the fifth video in a series showing the gameplay from the modern challenge that took place on the 29th of September, in which I finished top 4 playing my build of full-color Keruga Omnath, which you see in front of you here. This video will cover the gameplay and include my play-by-play commentary for the games in round 5 of the challenge. If you missed the gameplay for the previous rounds of this challenge, there is a playlist dedicated for that linked in the description. The deck list in text and the free sideboard guide are also linked in the video description, so also feel free to check that out. With all that said, let's get on to the games. Round 5, game 1. I lose the die roll, so I'm on the draw. Keep a pretty decent hand here. So, don't know what my opponent is on because they didn't reveal companion. Let's say mine first. So this could be like Blue Black Frog, like we saw earlier. Blue Black Frog tends to be quite a popular deck online. And yeah, our opponent from round 2 also opened with Bloodstained Could be that. Could also be Hollow One. So it could be anything. Our hand is pretty well set up against both of those. Well, maybe not Blue Black Frog. Actually, Blue Black Frog is also fine because Solitude outs the Psychic Frog pretty cleanly, as well as the Leyline Binding. And we have the Fairy. Against Hollow One, we have the Force of Vigor in case we draw the green card. And we can hit like 2 Force. We can hit Force on the Hollow Ones, or Hollow One plus Fear of Missing Out, the new card from Dustborn. You know, that's played in Hollow One. And if this is something else, like a Brew, it has Ragavan. This is a black-red based kind of thing. We have the Dead Gone. So we actually have quite a lot of nice options. And the fetch land to try and find a third land using a surveillance. Okay, so now that I see it's Elegant Parlor, it's most likely Storm. Oh, okay. So note on this. So they kept the card on top of the Surveil, but they took quite a bit of time to think about it. But also, this turn wasn't fast either. So it's fast on the replay, but I remember playing this. This turn actually took a while to resolve. But it wasn't like a lag kind of because it didn't disconnect either. So I'm not sure what's happening, but it didn't play the second land. So yeah, maybe it's a high risk keep. Maybe low risk isn't enough for my opponent. They could have fixed their draw with that surveil to try and find a land. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah, on one land, we fetch the Lush Portico, try and find the fourth land. Shock in the Steam Bench just in case they present a Ruby, Medallion, or a Ral. And yeah, I played a Teferi here because I have Raw covered with the Solitude, and I have Ruby Medallion covered with the Force of Vigor. And yeah, this is just a really nice time to highlight why Force of Vigor complements the deck so well. You can tap out, develop your boards while still presenting interaction. Much better than things like Prismatic Ending, where I'd have to. You see, Prismatic Ending is an instant speed, so my opponent can just combo off through it while it rots in my hand. And yeah, I won't be able to develop this board, even if I could hit the whatever cost reduce they have at sorcery speed. Yeah, Force very great here. Really nice coverage. Not just this deck and not just board energy, but a bunch of random other situations and decks in the metagame right now. Yeah, uses up the ritual. Just ramps up for next turn. Now that I draw the fourth one, I have a decision to make. I could keep up the Leyline Binding. This gives me the most coverage against Ruby, Medallion, and Raw. But it's most likely they're just going to use the Ra as the cost reducer for the next turn if they're going to try and combo off. So then the next consideration I have to think about is this is a combo matchup. So I can't just continue to present interaction. Eventually they'll either be able to play around it or they'll get to a point where the graveyard can just play through it. So by that I mean they have a lot of lands, a ton of cards in the graveyard, and then top deck of passive flames. So I need to start attacking, I need to start threatening them, threatening their life total. And that incentivizes me to play the Omnath, leaving Solitude as my only interaction. It's pretty reasonable here. Shadow is going to be nice. The Shadow Sidebinder is a nice draw for next turn. We get to untap. And Teferi here is really nice. They can't double Ritual to save this thing from the Solitude. Or we can just hit it before the flip resolves. And guarantee they don't have a cost reducer, at least face up. They have to present another one. They're just getting their mana, about mana's worth of stuff. Keep mana open here because at this point I just want to be safe because the Shadow's Typebinder could, if it gets to that point, stifle a Storm Trigger or just stifle a Raw if they put it on board. If it's the Raw, it's the cost reducer, and we have Leyline Binding as well, so yeah, also coverage. Instead they just decide to put Wish in the graveyard, the Wish that they got off the one of the impulse effects, I believe. I just flash into Shadow's Typebinder at this point because I just want to clock them. It'll be 2-turn clock, and I have interaction anyway for any of the cost reducers. It's really all that matters. And yeah, at this point, my opponent does scoop. This is essentially, if they have to fetch, it's a 2-turn clock. And if they have to try and flip with Raw, it's definitely a 2-turn clock. If it doesn't flip, it's a bunch of scenarios where they lose a bit of life, enough life to make this lethal after the first swing. Yeah, that was a short game, and it was nice having coverage for a variety of things my opponent could have presented. On to the game 2. Round 5, game 2. I'm on the draw again because I won the last game. And before we go on, just a small note on the sideboarding. So the plan for this matchup is to bring Damping Sphere. I've played in the past and won against Storm without this card, so it is possible to do it. This card's mainly here for the Eldrazi matchups and Tron to like pay some respect to it and at least give us a shot of trying to win against it. Tron is by G Eldrazi Tron, Green Eldrazi Tron is by far the worst matchup of this deck, and I would say maybe the only true bad matchup. That might just be me playing this deck. I'm not sure. And yeah, like I said, you can win without Damping Sphere, but I'm not so rigid when it comes to stuff like companions that I will break the restriction and just give up on them if I think either the matchup calls for it, so in the case of Tron, or if it can make a matchup just more ignorant despite losing the companion. So what I mean by ignorant is you resolve one particular spell, say that spell doesn't meet the companion restriction, but if you resolve it, you just make the game so simple, and you just play it. Like for me, Keruga is essentially a main deck sideboard card, in a sense. So I board it out, quote unquote, board it out, so don't enable it in the post-board games where I don't think it's that relevant or not relevant enough compared to what I'm actually bringing in. Yeah, that's sort of how I think about companions. before just during before Brown Alberts was banned, I did the Chalice Draft package, and that was the same line of thinking with that kind of sideboard plan, and we're employing that here. So yeah, we got good hands. We can draw blue cards. We can protect the Stamping Sphere. We got a ring for late game. Try and find more interaction. Yeah, we play the Flood Strand first here. Get Surveil land. Most likely Thundering Falls. Try and find the blue cards. And find the blue cards, so we slam Stamping Sphere. Didn't use the Windswept piece just in case I want to fetch for double blue, and if they try and Blood Moon me, I do have Force Negation. I feel like I'm not ready for it. No, I fetched the Windswept Heath. I think I'm gonna try and find more stuff like an Omnath, so I'm gonna fetch a Lush Portico here. Yeah, just try and clear all these cloggy lands. Slam the ring. Just want to get through the deck a bit faster. Flip the Raw. You know that the only way they're gonna try and advance here is to try and take this up to 8, down tick, perhaps dig into 8 cards that out this Damping Sphere. And yeah, we just made the game really ignorant. Damping Sphere. Number 2, all we have to be wary about is this ring. Hope it doesn't kill us, but we have the Solitude, so we can ambush this thing. This Ral is still a creature, so not the Planeswalker Ral. Force some negation this because I don't want this in their graveyards. As I mentioned earlier, I don't want a scenario where they can accumulate a ton of mana and just get a Past in Flames going. Especially with like 3-cost reducers. That's actually a real line to find something that not only potentially outs both of these Stamping Spheres, but lets them combo off too. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Play Wish, but double Damping Sphere means you can't cast anything through it. It's likely that you don't cast anything when you're being taxed 4. Or more, actually, I think. In this case, they cast like 3 spells. So here, I think we're just trying not to lose something that outs this. And yeah, I try and tap for this Solitude. And yeah, my opponent scoops. Oh shit, there was some buggy stuff here, but yeah, basically they go to combat, I think. Yeah, it's a bit buggy here. But yeah, it's essentially I use this, get rid of this. This is not high enough. They don't have an out to this. And yeah, this way I don't lose to my own ring. Actually, I don't even lose to my own ring with the Tishana's type binder. So yeah, I have the ring covered, have their combo covered, just gotta finish off the game. And yeah, like Damping Sphere just made this so ignorant. Like it's just made the game so simple. It's all you're really trying to aim for with this kind of sideboarding, even if you lose the companion.